Hello everyone and welcome. So today we're going to be looking at the jungle tank, or really just a 55-gallon tank that's become a bit overgrown, but I really wanted to show it in its current state. I do plan on going in here and trimming up a lot of these plants and not necessarily resetting it, but resetting some of these big plants, which I'll get into in a second. But I wanted to show you guys what a really old established planted tank can look like if it kind of goes untrimmed. This tank, oh goodness, I want to say it's been set up for at least 2 years now. Um, so it's had a lot of time to mature, and a lot of these plants have been in here since the very beginning. Um, Namely, the big sword plant on the right. That one there has been in there since the beginning, and some of these other plants over here on the left, some of them haven't become as invasive or as dominant as that sword plant. And some plants have been added since the start of the tank. So I really wanted to show you guys the tank in its current state before I trim it, and I wanted to see what you guys think would look really cool in a tank like this. What would you guys do if you had this 55-gallon tank that was this old? I really want to know what you guys would do before I tell you what I'm thinking about doing. So go ahead and leave a comment. What on earth would you do with this tank? Would you just reset it? Would you trim everything way back? Whatever it might be. As a result of having this tank up for a couple of years, the fish selections become a bit kind of mismatched. Just kind of different fish have ended up in here over time. Some of the originals are kind of still in here. We added some newer fish. There's a glass fish. I wanted to say it's a Mexican glass fish. I don't think that's right, though. It's not a glass catfish. There's 5 of those in here. I think there's another one back there. So, sorry about the glare. But that kind of thing can happen. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys the tank, kind of do a brief overview of just kind of some of the things I'm thinking about doing. But again, I really want to know what you guys would do, because I think having a tank like this is just a really fun thing to work with, just because you can do so many things with it. Talk a little bit about this sword plant, just because it's probably one of the most dominating features. So this is the view of the tank from the side. So again, this is your standard 55. You can just see how wide this one sword plant is, and how it takes up the entire like water column. Like a third of this aquarium is just this one plant, pretty much. So it's grown immensely. I don't want to say it's a red Reuben sword, or it's a red something sword. I got that as a mother plant on eBay way back when, many years ago now. And it's just kind of grown immensely. There was a couple. So there actually is a second one of these swords, which is right in here. It's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus on it. There we go. So if you see right here, you have the base where you have some of the roots and stuff, and it's got like this one leaf. It's got this one big runner stem, which was placed up here. Oh, well, oh dear, if you can see it. There we go. We need to hook up a different light. So it's just kind of ended up here. I don't know why it was placed up here. That was not my doing. But that's just ended up here. If we look at the tank from the top, it's got your average duckweed infestation, and along the back wall a whole load of Rotala. So I want to talk a little bit about how this plant has grown over the past couple years. We'll get in here a little bit closer. So again, this is the back of the aquarium. So you can see down here all this massive amount of roots. So all of these roots are pretty much from the sword plant. There's a few crypts which were placed in here originally, which have never taken off. Let's see if you can guess why. And a lot of these plants down here have not taken off. So there's actually a regular kind of plain Jane Amazon sword right there. Then the other kind of red crypt, or red sword rather. And then kind of your mix of crypts around it. Now it's easier to see in the front. So I'll go right back around here. And we'll get a little bit closer. If you look at the base, which hopefully you can see, You follow these stems of this crypt down here. They're basically growing in and around the base of the sword plant. And again, when I originally planted this, there's a decent amount of space, but the sword plant's just gotten so huge that it's just kind of taken over and started pushing the crypts away. So, again, I want to know what you guys would do if you had this tank. What would you do? Would you just take the whole thing down, start over? Would you save like the giant sword plant and put it in a much bigger tank? What would you guys do? And obviously some of these plants just need to be generally trimmed. The rotala is just grown over the top. So you have a nice mat of some really nice looking kind of pink rotala. If my focus will work, there we go. So again, a lot of that, some really nice color, but it just all needs to be trimmed back. Same for a lot of these plants kind of up here in the front. Now, one of the things with really old tanks like this is something I didn't necessarily take into consideration when I was setting this tank up, is how big these sword plants can get. I did not think this sword plant would ever get this big. Never would have thought that would have been possible. And then I never really considered the possibility of the crypts like spreading. So you can see over here, now maybe if the if the glare works for me here. Okay, so in filming, I realized I did not show you this part of the aquarium. So in the front left of the aquarium, we have these whole bunch of crypts, which have sent runners back across the entire aquarium to the very back, and are now flourishing. So when I'm talking about the crypt spreading and me not being able to predict it, that's what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to let you guys see that a little bit. Now back to me rambling on. Again, the light's not very bright because the rotala up here is just blocking it all out. But there's a whole bunch of these brown crypts kind of along here. It's very hard to see, at least it is on my camera. Hopefully it's not that bad in the actual video. Then over here, and so these crypts have actually been spreading. So this one was never planted. This one's a new one that's kind of spread out. I want to say some of these over here. This one I may have planted, I don't remember. But a lot of these crypts are kind of spread. Same for these crypts back here. These crypts have been doing really, really well, and they've been sending runners all the way into the back of the aquarium. It's kind of hard to see, but there are crypts kind of going all the way back. Up here, this is I think this is an Anubias barderi. That's one of the original plants. It's, again, the lighting's not great because the plants are kind of overtaking everything, but you can see a huge long rhizome. That thing's grown. And that's been there for, I think, since the beginning. Same thing for a lot of these plants. It looks like there's an Anubias nana. I don't know if it's a nana petite or not, but it's just kind of grown in a straight line out to try and get some of that light. Have some Anubias gold coins back on that piece of driftwood. Those are kind of a newer-ish addition. Again, a lot of things kind of dumped in here, especially when it comes to like fish selection. So there's a couple odd pencil fish in here. The glass catfish, I thought those would look really cool in here. So those were added deliberately with every good intention, so to speak. Then there's some dwarf emerald rasboras. I don't know how many there is. They mostly hide back in the corner. I kind of want to add like a whole bunch more of them. It's kind of the idea of a small fish in a large tank. It's having a fish that small. If you're familiar with those fish at all, they're very tiny. When I was looking these up, most people typically keep them in really, really small tanks so you can see them better. But by having them in such a large tank like this, you get some really fun natural behaviors. So they've pretty much spent all their time back here, and they'll kind of come out and get food, but they'll mostly hover around the back. There you go, you can see. Maybe. If you see some movement, it's most likely one of those fish. Again, the lighting's just not great for capturing some video, because the rotala is just grown immensely tall. So that's just kind of a quick overview of the tank. Again, let me know what you guys would do. Um, and I'll go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about what I'm thinking about doing. You can just kind of critique me to an extent. Um, I don't know how many fish I want to take out. I've thought about taking out a decent amount and kind of starting over to an extent. I'll probably leave most, but there's actually 3 big Siamese algae eaters, which you haven't seen. I did just turn the lights on. I want to say they normally hang out in this big driftwood log in the middle, which you can't even really see. But there's 3 of them in here. I don't know if you can see any of them on this side. I don't think any of them are out. There's some emerald iris boras. I have 3 left. Oh, they're right back in there. But, so, again, like kind of a mismatched group of fish. I want to add something with a bit more color. I think something like, something like a cardinal tetra or even like a neon tetra would look really cool. But I don't know if I necessarily want to go with the fish kind of, I don't want to say common, but, with this tank I wanted some nice, really different fish. So, I don't know. Again, I just want to know what you guys think. As far as trimming goes, I'm tempted to cut down this Amazon sword almost completely. Like, only leave a couple leaves. It's got a couple newer leaves at the base, so I guess, I might just like leave those, but cut back every other leaf. Just resetting that plant, essentially. With this extensive root structure and leaving a couple leaves, I think it should be fine. It just needs to be cut back down so it's much more manageable and much less bulky. And again, with a lot of these plants, it's just like these stem plants that pogo stem on up here in the front. Those just need to be cut all the way down. Same for the rotala. I could just cut that all the way back. Trim up some of the Nubius. The Nubius does really good when it's trimmed. So cutting off the rhizome, breaking it into multiple pieces, and planting them in other places would be great for that plant. Well, there's another really long strand of Anubias. You can see it just grows straight out. It's just been there for years. So yeah, it's been a fun tank just to watch evolve, especially with this sword plant. I'll try and overlay some pictures. You can see what it looked like even, like 6 to 8 months ago or something, and you can just see the size difference. Then I'll link up some of my old videos and you can actually see what it looked like way, way, way back. Because it's grown a lot. It's insane how much that plant's grown. So, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any other questions about this tank. Once I go back and do a full trim, I might want to do like a full overview. Talk about the filtration, the lighting. Oh, there's a pencil fisher out. So there's one of the pencil fish. I think there's 2 of those in here. So there's like, there's like your odd job fish like that have just kind of ended up in here. So just so you believe me, they're actually in there. The Siamese algae, just when they come out, you'll see them. But so yeah, again, I just want to know what you guys think. I'll probably do another video. I'm planning on trimming this tank up probably within this next week or so. So keep an eye out for that video once I get that up. It'll be a lot of work cutting and trimming all of this back. So, oh, there we go. One of the algae eaters started moving. Yeah, I have all these fish in here and you can't see them because of these plants. If you saw that smudge, there's a fish in there. That was one of the Siamese. I don't think that was one of the biggest ones. There's like 2 that are bigger and 1 that's slightly smaller. Let's see if I can go around the back. Well, there's the glass fish. Okay, well, those fish are in there, believe it or not. So I'm thinking about taking them out just because they're a little bit bigger. I don't know, I want to add some kind of schooling fish that's a bit more colorful, just something with some color. Um, I don't know. We'll see. Again, leave your suggestions. I really would like to know. Then let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about with this tank. What else do you want to know? Maybe if there's a plant in here you saw that I didn't talk about, if you want to know a bit more about it. I can try and do a bit more of an in-depth overview. But again, I just want to keep it general because I don't really know what it is I'm going to do yet. So there, let me know what you guys think. Have an awesome day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.